Hey, this is Bryce Harper, and welcome to the Philly Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Philly Show. Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Phillies open a 3-game series Friday night against the Cleveland Guardians. The New York Yankees come to town early next week for a 3-game series. Before this 6-game homestand ends, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, trade deadline. Phillies are looking for a reliever. Phillies are looking for a right-handed bat in the outfield. Maybe they get one. Maybe they get both. Maybe Dave Dombrowski has a big surprise up his sleeve. We will find out soon enough. Saturday night, though, Phillies rookie, South Jersey native, Bishop Eustace grad, lifelong Phillies fan, Tyler Phillips will make the 3rd start of his big league career, the 4th appearance of his big league career. Tyler's been a fun story, a lot of success early on. And it means a lot to him, of course, growing up a huge Phillies fan. Tyler took some time with us the other day, spent about a half an hour with us, telling a lot of great stories, sharing a lot of great insight about his journey to this moment, about what it means to be in this moment. I think you're really going to enjoy this. So without further ado, here is Tyler Phillips. Tyler, thanks for joining us, man. You've had a great start to your Phillies career. I know you've been asked this before, but let's start with this. How crazy have these past 2 weeks, how surreal have these past few weeks been for you? I imagine it's beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah, it's I think you could say that. Wildest dreams for sure. I don't know. I would have never imagined pitching for the Phillies in my life, ever since I was like 4 years old, 3 years old, somewhere around there. Like, it's been a dream of mine, and I still don't think that I've woken up from it yet. Like, ever since I first got called up. So it's been unbelievable for me and my family.
Tyler, Ruben Amaro, and again, good to see you. And so thanks so much for joining us. I think this story, it kind of holds near and dear to my heart because I also grew up in the Philadelphia area,
Yeah.
Northeast Philly. So I sort of have, all those memories that I had about what it was like to play for the Phillies, my hometown team. All those memories started, rushing back to me whilst I watched you play and step onto the field. Tell me about what your emotions were like when you stepped into the clubhouse, because for me, I was awfully proud, but it was also super nervous, because I felt like I had to live up to my dad's name and my dad's legacy and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. What was it like when you stepped into the clubhouse, and what were those feelings inside?
Honestly, throughout everything, it's just been it's been a choked up type of feeling. Like you want to feel emotional. You almost want to start crying because your dreams have finally come true. But there are nerves because there's so many, it's all the people that have paved the way, the Philadelphia Philly way in the past that you want to live up to, like the history that I've known growing up that my dad has shown me, just being able to watch the games, everyone that was there before, all the people that are there now. So there's always going to be a little bit of that nervous energy in the back of your mind. It's I need to earn these guys respect. I need to earn the respect of the fans. And I just need to do everything that I can to just be present, be a player that wants to contribute to the team, to the city. That was the very first thing that I was thinking when I first got there was wow, I'm here. I couldn't breathe. I have to take a breath. I'm looking around. I was dude, there's Harper, there's Turner, what do we what's going on? There's Nola. I watched these guys throughout high school, you try not to fanboy too much. I just stay quiet. I keep my nose clean. I just try to do everything for the team, and I'm still like that. Today, I'm a rookie, I gotta earn my stripes, So it's been nerve-wracking, but it's been super cool. And every single day that I walk into it's right when I cross the bridge and I go through the toll, my heart kind of drops, and I'm man, I get to go to the bank for work. This is crazy. It's not even work anymore. It's just the coolest thing in the world. It's a little kid living out his dream.
Tyler, how actually do you turn off the fan? You mentioned you watched all these guys in high school, but when you take the mound for these guys, they're putting trust and faith in you. They're like fans of yours, and you need to deliver for them. How do you turn that off and kind of get into the mindset that I'm actually one of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just all the years of just playing baseball that I've done and the preparation that I do. I think that's something that I take the most pride in throughout my week. Like I can be a fan. I can look at these guys, but once I get onto the mound, like that's my mound, that's my field, and I don't want anyone to try to take that away from me. At the end of the day, like the end goal is winning games. It's winning a championship at the end, and I don't know. I tell everyone, like I try to get into this kill mode that I have, this like compete mode where it's the second I think it starts the second that I walk out of the bullpen when I'm done warming up. Like it's this alter ego it kicks in, and I'm just ready to go after everybody. Like it doesn't matter who it is. Like I go into full compete mode and I don't think about a thing. I don't hear the fans. I don't hear anyone talking to me other than Caleb or Stubby or JT, obviously. But yeah, I mean, like it kind of doesn't, like, even when I come out of the game, it takes me a few innings to like get out of that mode, and then I can like kind of sit back and like, oh my gosh, like there's Harpy's up to bat again, or like there's these guys. So like it's like I don't even like realize who's playing behind me. I know it in the moment, but I'm on the same field as them, and I have to convince myself that I am one of them, even though it's still early. So.
Tyler, you mentioned like full compete mode. I think like two numbers jump out at me in terms of full compete mode. One is that you have one walk in 16 innings so far. It sounds like a guy that's really going at hitters and attacking. And also your velo's up as a starter in the big leagues compared to where it was in the minor leagues. And I'm sitting there going, this guy's feeling a little bit extra juice.
Yeah.
Is that a good, are those two good examples of full compete mode in the big leagues?
I think so. The walk thing, that's something that like throughout my career, that's something that I've tried to make super important. Like my past couple years, the walks have been a little bit up for me in the minor leagues. I think that's adjusting to like the whole auto zone thing and the challenge system, and as well as like last year, I was coming off the Tommy John surgery. Mm-hmm. So it's just getting back into the swing of it, kicking some rust off. But yeah, I mean, like it's just knowing myself. Like I don't see myself as a strikeout pitcher. I'm a weak contact. I'm a ground ball pitcher. And the only way that you're going to get outs that way is if you're in the zone. You got to make guys swing the bat. And I think that goes for everyone, even guys that are trying to strike guys out. So yeah, I mean, like the velocity, I think that's just adrenaline. I think that's being able to wear the Phillies across my chest. It's like, I'm going to leave every ounce of everything I got out here. I'm going to go and try to make guys sit down. And then the walk thing again, like it's just pitching to my strengths. It's I have to attack guys. I have to go at them. I have to establish the strike zone, and I think that's where the walks have kind of been put down a little bit. Obviously, I have unbelievable catchers as well that are able to steal strikes for me. So a lot of thanks to them. But yeah, it's like what Sandy said, like back then, like you gotta throw the ball over the plate, make them swing the bat if you want to get outs.
I have so many questions for you, Tyler. It's unbelievable. But so tell me where you developed, like every player gets to the point in their career where they're like developing a routine, and every great player that I know develops a certain routine. Where did it start for you? When did you start to think, okay, this is something I have to do to be successful? How did that all transpire for you?
Yeah, it actually took some time. Believe it or not, my 17-year-old self back then didn't have a routine. But yeah,
very, very few people do, man. Very few, because you're riding on your ability, right? You're riding on your ability.
Yeah, all you know is go out there, and like out of high school especially, like all you know is go out there, throw as hard as you can, throw whatever little breaking ball you got, and if you throw harder than everyone else in New Jersey, you're going to succeed. And that's kind of how it was. And I got a little bit exposed. I think my second year of pro ball, like my rookie year, for some reason was really good. Probably because I was facing other 17-year-olds. But I got exposed fairly quick in my career. And a routine was something that came to fruition through actually Cole Hamels being with the Rangers for his little time there.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, and like that's a guy that I've always looked up to throughout my entire life. Philly legend to me. So he came over to Texas, and we had a lot of classroom sessions throughout spring training and instructional spring training. And they would play videos of him just going through his throwing program. And every single throw was exactly the same. It was exactly to the chest. It was just the same way that he pitched. And they went into a classroom about his routine and just how he follows his routine for playing catch. And that's why he's able to throw the ball to the chest every single time. He doesn't have any side-to-side misses. Everything's consistent. So that's where I started to begin to buy into it. Then you just watch guys like him throughout his day, whenever you can. And he takes care of everything, like his lifting routine, his eating routine, his sleep routine, and his throwing routine. And you just kind of see, like, this is a guy who takes care of all this. And there's like a direct correlation of success. And I think that just takes a maturity level for a young kid to just buy into it and say, you know what, like, that works. This guy has been really good for his whole career. And it makes sense why, because he has his routine. So that's just where you have to figure it out on your own and find what works for you.
Well, you mentioned Cole Hamels. I got to ask you about the 08 World Series. Where did you watch it? He was the star of it all.
Where did I watch it?
Yeah, and what do you remember of it? Did you go to any games?
I was not allowed to go to the games, thanks to my mom. Also, my dad didn't want to get rid of it. The only way I was able to go to games, him and his good friend from work, they had season tickets. So whenever his friend couldn't make it, that's where my in was. And they weren't going to miss a playoff game. So I was watching from home. My dad was he was at a couple of the games. He was actually there for Halliday's no-hitter.
Wow.
Which is awesome. Super jealous. But yeah, I mean, gosh, that was so long ago. I just remember again, like, guys just going at the strike zone, just competing, like, you want to win. And that's what they did.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Mike Trout he went and stood in the parking lot and listened to the cheers. He couldn't get in either, apparently.
Yeah.
Tyler, can you appreciate, like, your dad talked with Scott Lauber from the Inquirer like last week, and I think he warned Scott at the beginning of the phone call, like, listen, I'm probably gonna get choked up like 50 times because this is such an emotional moment.
Yeah.
Can you appreciate what your father is feeling, because you're now a dad yourself and you have your own son? So can you kind of feel that, appreciate what he is going through and how proud he must be and how fun that must be for him and really for everybody else in your family?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can, for sure. Like, I watched like a lot of the videos, and like seeing my dad running down after I pitched in Atlanta, like, he actually was not allowed at any of my minor league games because of, at least this year, because he just gets too worked up. Like, if I'm not throwing well, and he's wanted it so bad for me as well, because he knows the work that honestly, not just me, like, that we both put in, like, all the times that I'd be in the backyard at 8:30 at night getting bit up by mosquitoes, like throwing balls into a tarp or something. He knows it's been a long process, and he knows it's my dream forever. And like, now I watch my own son, and I want him to play baseball, but whatever he wants to go on and do,
Sure.
I want him to be able to fulfill his dreams. And it just means a lot to see that my dad just gets so emotional, because how much the Phillies have meant to us. That's been like a huge bonding point for us over the years. And that's something that we've just spent a lot of time just connecting over. It's just the Phillies. We used to play wiffle ball in the backyard, and I'd pretend to be the Phillies, like he'd be the bad guys. I don't know, the Yankees or something. And I'd be the Phillies. And it's just whatever it was, like, that was always like our main talking point. And like, a lot of our love for the game came from that. So it's really cool. And I love my dad to death. And I'm always so thankful for all the work that he's helped me go through over the years.
It's great that you guys are living this together. I mean, that's just an incredible, beautiful story, because, baseball is fathers and sons and mothers and sons playing catch in the backyard. We all did it with our dads and our kids. You mentioned the Tommy John surgery. And I'm sure your family was right there with you. They're there for the triumphs and they're for the difficult times. How important were they in helping you get through that? And could you just tell us a little bit about the whole comeback process? Is it more physical? Is it more mental? Is it more emotional? Do you wonder if it's ever going to happen for you, even though the surgery is pretty successful? Do you wonder if your dreams are ever going to come true when they say, hey, you need Tommy John?
Yeah. I mean, that whole process was tough for me. Gosh, I'd already been playing for however many years in the minor leagues, 7, 8 years in the minor leagues. The second you hear news like that, you want to be in denial about it. And I was. My girlfriend's dad, he's an orthopedic surgeon. Like, excuse me. I'm telling him what I'm experiencing in my elbow. Like, I'm telling him the pain that I'm having. I never had this huge episode, but my elbow just was in pain whenever I threw. And he's like, that sounds like a tear. And I just didn't want to believe him. So, I was in denial for a little while, and I actually pitched with a torn elbow. According to my surgeon, I pitched with a torn elbow for probably the whole year. Like, I just didn't know. He said that's how much scar tissue was in there once he opened me up. So yeah, like, my family was there for me, but that's a moment where I have to sit back and like really think about my life and think about like my career, where it's going. Like, my love for baseball ultimately is what kept me in it. Like, I just can't, I'm one of those guys, like, I just don't think hanging up the cleats was in my cards at that moment. But it's super emotional for all of us. Like, my dad, he doesn't know the process of a Tommy John, and he's worried about my career. I'm worried about my career because I don't know if I'm able to come back from that and be better than I was before. My family, like my girlfriend and my son, like, we're trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. Like, if I'm even going to have a job come the end of this rehab. Because the process of it, like, I ended up getting DFA'd because of my injury, and that's just the business of the game, and I can respect that. And the Phillies were straightforward with me, and that's all I can ask for as a player, is just straight honesty. But yeah, the process it's difficult. I think physically it's tough in the beginning. You're going through some pain. You're going through like you're lacking like trust in your arm. Like, I think that's the biggest part is just how your arm feels and how your body feels, because you're not doing what you're used to doing. You're not doing your normal offseason. You're not doing your normal throwing. But honestly, the mental side of it, that's the hardest part. I think the only way that you're able to come out better, like, everyone comes out throwing harder after Tommy John, is what they say. They all think it's the ligament that's stronger, but no, it's the stuff that you go throughout it. It's the people that are around you. It's the people encouraging you to put in the amount of work that you have to put in to come out throwing harder. It's not because my ligament's better, my velocity's not up because of that. It's because I had so many good people in my corner pushing me and encouraging me. You're going to be just fine. Just go in there and do your work. And that's where I had a mindset change where it's like, okay, this sucks, but like, I have a choice, and I can either let this defeat me, I can let this crumble me, or I can rise to the occasion. I can let this be a moment where I learn new pitches, I get stronger, I get in better shape, and I come out a better pitcher and a better person from it. So I think the mental side of it was definitely the hardest.
Great stuff. I would imagine you appreciate all this even more because of what you had to go through.
Yeah, I mean, you learn a lot about yourself too. Like, you never want something like that to ever happen again. So your routine, again, to our first conversation or our first topic here, your routine changes. You learn stuff that you need to do to get your body ready for the long season, stuff that I probably wouldn't have done in the past, where like I was like, I don't need that. But now I know, like, yeah, you actually need that. You can't take anything for granted because you don't know when something could happen, when your last day in this game could be.
So, Tyler, I had a dad, obviously, who was involved in baseball on a number of different levels. But I also, as I worked my way through the minor leagues, there were some people who gave me advice, who helped me. Some people that I draw on even to this day. Joe Madden was one of them when I was with the Angels. So many others that I think about. Is there anybody in particular, as you were working through the minor league system, a piece of advice, a piece of information, someone who sort of helped mentor you through this, other than your family members? Obviously, they're always there. anybody else that sort of mentored you through this process?
Oh man, there's so many. Like, trying to think of like the best thing that I've ever been told. Excuse me. I think my pitching coordinator, just with the Rangers early on, he had a huge impact on me, just like my pitch style, like everything. But something that he always said to us, it's always stuck with me. It's in my Instagram bio right now. It's talent. Talent is never enough. Like, everybody's been given God-given talent. That's why we're all in the game. We all throw 93, 95, whatever it is. We all have a breaking ball. But, like, there's very few amount of people that are able to just show up to this game and just thrive on talent alone. You have to do all the little things. You have to have a routine. You have to work hard. You have to do everything that you think that you probably wouldn't. Like, people outside of the game, like, they don't know all the behind the scenes that go on. And that's something that's always stuck with me. And like, every time that I'm like working out in the off season or making a throw in season, you have to sit there and think, like, what's my intent behind this? Like, what's my end goal behind this? Like, I can't take a throw off. And it's something I believe, and I've always believed it. If I take a throw off, that's just going to be a pitch in the game that I'm taking off. And that pitch in the game is the difference with a strikeout or a weak ground ball or a home run. If I take a rep off in the weight room in the off season, that one rep is the difference with me being injured or me making it to a big league roster, whatever it is. Like, I've always convinced myself that, and talent alone will never carry me. And I think that's something that I've always stuck with. And that was like probably the best message that I've ever heard.
Are you, I know you've only been up for a couple of weeks, but how comfortable are you in that clubhouse right now? Like, comfortable enough to BS with Nola or Wheeler and ask him about a pitch or a thought process, or, how to attack? Why'd you attack this guy this way? I mean, is that, maybe you already are comfortable doing that, but I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've just been being pretty quiet in there because
Okay.
Again, I am starstruck by all the guys still. I have talked to Nola a few times. He's a pretty approachable guy, and
Sure.
And before my first start back home, I was just asking him like what he looks at in hitters, how he prepares for his week. Like I've been being quiet. I don't want to get outside of step outside of my lane or anything, because I still believe every single day I have to earn my days. I have to earn respect of a lot of the guys, and if I go in there and I'm too loud or something, like I don't want to take guys off of their game. With whatever I got going on. So, but yeah, I have talked to Nola. When I was in the bullpen, I talked to Strom and Kirkering a lot about how a bullpen works, because God, I haven't done that in so long. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like, I have a comfort level going into the clubhouse. Like, everybody in there is just there to have fun, and they know when to flip the switch when it's time for the game time. But right now, I'm just in a mode of observing and just learning how a big leaguer is going to go about their day, go about their week. And that's just usually how I've been, at new levels or new teams. I usually take a second to adjust to that group of guys. And once I finally get adjusted, then I become a loud guy. But for right now, I think I'm just going to learn by observing. I'm going to learn from other people's examples. And when there's time for me to ask questions, I will.
Tyler, you came out of that Bishop Eustace program. What a great program that is. Teammate of Zach Gallen?
Yeah, he was a senior when I was a sophomore.
Do you still keep in touch? Has he ever offered some great advice? He's got to be really happy for you.
I'd hope so. We don't keep in touch though. If I see him back home, yeah, and I think the last time I saw him in person actually was Thanksgiving Eve or something, a few years ago. But
it's a big party day. That's a big party day.
Yeah, we were at a PJ's. We were at a PJ. we were getting some wings and a few beers. But
Sure.
Yeah, there was a bunch of the high school teammates there. But yeah, I mean, when he was a senior, there was always same thing. There was always a little intimidation factor. He was older than me. I think he was. Yeah. I think he's 3 or 4. He's 3 years older than maybe 4. Because I was a younger kid for my grade. But yeah, I mean, he was one of those guys that I would observe. I didn't really do much connecting with him. I just watched the way he played the game, and I always respected it because when we talk about competing, like he's a guy that always went out and competed. Like I'll never forget like a story that I tell a lot of people. He was pitching in a big game. There was a ton of scouts there, college, professional, whatever, you name it. There was tons of them. And it got to a point where his pitch count got up in the game. I think it was like the 6th inning. And our head coach, he told me to go warm up. And I was a sophomore. Finally, like I wasn't on varsity. I was just like a backup this day. And he's like, go warm up. Like Zach's pitch count's up. I was like, okay, sure. I go warm up. I get ready for the game. And then someone comes down to say, Tyler, you're in the game for the 7th. I run out to the mound, and Zach meets me on the mound. And I was like standing there just in awe. I was like, what's going on? And he's like, go back to the dugout.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, they told me I was in the game. And he's like, I'm in the game. Go back to the dugout.
Oh, my
and
God.
Our coach comes out, and he talks our coach into it. And, I mean, again, like, I wasn't upset about it. It was just more of, again, like, I was a little shocked. But I respected it because he didn't want anyone to take that ball away from him. And that's kind of how I go about my game now. I don't want someone to take the ball away from me. I want to go the entire game. And, like I'm not going to get upset with him. He continued to pitch, and eventually I got into that game somehow. I'll never forget it. But like he competes and he wants the ball, and it's something that I've always respected throughout my years. There's just always been a little bit of intimidation factor because he was older than me. The only other person was Devin Smeltzer. He was someone who took me under his wing when I was in high school. He said, you're going to be my throwing partner, because we both long tossed, and anything that it had to do with pitching, like anything that he knew, he would just come and give me whatever information it was. And it was pretty cool. It was like how a vet here would take a rookie under his wing is how I would imagine it.
Tyler, I've watched you on the mound. I like to read faces. I like to read body language. I know how you like to compete. You can tell that you are a competitive person by nature. And it almost seems at times you get like kind of angry or pissed off at yourself at times when you don't make your pitch, when you don't, even when you get outs. I've seen you walk off and just kind of scream at yourself a little bit or talk to yourself a little bit. And I really like that about you. Other than just that being your overall nature, was that how you were as a kid? Were you a super competitive kid? Did you play other sports? Was it something that was just you were born to be, or is it something that you've developed over time?
No, I was definitely always pretty competitive, and I think my dad made me that way. I'm sure he went easy on me over the years, but it was pretty rare that I think he would go easy on me. Like I had to earn everything growing up. Whether it was a board game or playing sports. I did play other sports, like soccer and basketball growing up, but that was more just for fun. Baseball was always something that I've wanted to do. The competitor in me, though, like I've adapted over the years. I've always been competitive, but the way that I am today, that's, gosh, when did that start? I've done that before. I think I did it in like 2018, where I would like get upset because I had a high standard for myself. Like, I knew exactly where I wanted pitches to be. I wanted to be like very clinical when I was out there pitching, and I know that I'm capable of doing certain things. And then after the surgery, like I think that's where I kind of started to lose it a little bit, and like it was taking a hit on my career as well. I would go out there and you'd pitch a little bit more timid, and you would just try to work on things. I think that whole that pandemic kind of did that to a lot of guys. Everyone's in working on thing mode. Like, I want to make this pitch move this way. I want to make it land here. It didn't come back. The competitive nature of myself didn't really come back until the beginning of this year, where it's like, all right, I know the pitch is going to move the way it's going to move. I need to go out there and I need to make hitters feel my presence on the mound. I've always been a believer that hitters can smell the blood in the water for a pitcher. If a guy's up there and he's struggling, that's when they're just gonna put it in swing mode, and they're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna get this guy here. But I think it works both ways. I think that pitchers can smell the blood in the water for hitters, and I try to like make that happen. Like I look guys right in the eye, and I'm telling myself, like I'm saying it out loud behind my glove. I'm like, oh, you're done now. Like there's some other words involved in there, but but yeah, like I think that gives me a sense of confidence. I think hitters can feel that from me. I've had the coaches in Lehigh as well. Like they stand in on my bullpens and they can tell me. They tell me there's a difference sometimes. Some bullpens you can tell that I'm working on something, and some bullpens they said, dude, I can feel your focus. I don't know if this makes sense. I can feel your focus. I can feel your energy, and I don't want to be in the box against you because it's already uncomfortable as it is. And then, like with the way that my pitches move, when you add a guy that's my size and is staring you down the entire way, like that's just not comfortable at bat, and that's just something that I try to make happen every time I go out there.
I definitely see that, Tyler. I got one last one for me. It's kind of a two-part question. Is one, what is it like to sign autographs in a Phillies uniform? I remember it was the Sunday afternoon at Truist Park. You came into the dugout. You're like, how do you not sign? I mean, I remember being a kid standing on the line, and like it was such a bummer when I didn't get an autograph. So you were signing all Sunday morning at Truist Park. So that's the first question. Second question is, how comfortable would you be if it, say, your dad's birthday, to go up to Bryce and go, hey, it's my dad's birthday. Would you mind signing a ball for him?
Yeah. I still don't know how people don't sign ball. If I could, I would sign every single thing for every person. Granted, I still don't think they all know who I am yet, because the other day in Minnesota, actually, I think it was yesterday, someone was screaming like, "Oh my gosh, Nola," because we have the same hair. I was like, I look up, I'm like, not Nola, it's not me. But yeah, I mean,
that's not the first time that's ever happened, Tyler. By the way,
I've had that happen my whole career. People don't really know who I am, but I'm always so happy to sign. Like if especially for kids, like that's the biggest thing for me. And that's honestly like part of the reason that I love baseball. I know how I looked up to players as a kid, and I looked at these guys are heroes. Like we're not bigger than anyone else. Like sure, guys get a paycheck, whatever it is, but like I remember when I was a kid, I was like, these guys are the coolest people on the planet Earth. I love every second of everything that they do, and I want kids to look at me and say like, that guy's super nice. That guy's cool. Like I want them to like have a memory of someone signing their ball, giving them a fist bump, and saying like, hey, like keep working, like you'll get there. Because that's any moment that I had as a kid. That's what inspired me to continue to work, because I wanted to be in their shoes. So yeah, awesome. I mean, like it means so much to me. Like I'm always so proud and so happy to sign balls for kids or whatever it is. Because that smile makes my day. It makes me feel better. It uplifts me. Yeah, like if I could sign every ball I could, or I would. And to answer your second question, I don't know. Bryce has been pretty cool to me.
Sure.
I don't think I would have an issue walking up to him and saying like, "Hey, man, like my dad's a big fan." I don't think my dad would feel comfortable asking me that, but
right.
But yeah, like I've thought about it. I was like my first week here, I was like, should I go and ask Bryce for an autograph? Would that be weird? I think I would do it, but I think I would still give myself a little bit more time. Like that's one that I got to add to my bedroom. My bedroom back home, at my parents' house, it's still my little kid room. I still have all the Phillies autographs in there. I have like the full team from spring training. Wow. I have a bunch of minor league balls in there. I'd love to add that one to my collection and bring that home at some point.
What posters do you have? Any posters?
No posters. It's a bunch of balls. I do have. I have a Bob Feller autograph picture. That's probably like my coolest picture in my room.
Cool.
Some Eagle stuff, some Flyer stuff, some pennants up on the wall, a bunch of Fanatics.
Who was your favorite Flyer? Who was your favorite Flyer in Eagle?
My favorite Eagle growing up. I remember when I was a kid, my favorite Eagle was Brian Westbrook. All the pictures that I have were 36 on the jersey. Flyers I wasn't as involved in. I don't even know if I've been to too many of their games as a kid. I do remember my first game at a Flyers game. I was the baby of the game. Well, my parents told me that, right. Which is pretty cool. We had to get into Sixers. Allen Iverson, he was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flyers. I think I was too young when we were going to those games for me to even remember anyone.
Okay.
Well, maybe the Sixers. I'm sorry. Have you out there and ring that bell some night. I think that would be great.
Oh, that would be sick. I would love that.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Seed
that would be
planted.
awesome.
Seed planted.
Exactly right. Oh my gosh. Well, Tyler, man, thanks for the time. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. We know how busy you guys are, and to give us this time is for three guys that have been around baseball a long time. We truly do appreciate it. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks, Tyler. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks to Tyler again for the time. That was a lot of fun. Again, reminder, not that you need it, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, trade deadline. We'll be back on Monday. The Phillies go out and make a move this weekend. We will react to that as well. So thanks again for joining us. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. This is The Phillies Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Phillies Show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. If you like what we do, give us a review. Tell a friend. Catch Ruben, Jim, and me on Phillies Nation TV, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. New episodes air an hour before every Saturday Phillies game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Replays air throughout the week and on PhilliesNation.com. Get more of Ruben's analysis during, before, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Read Jim at the All City Network at allphly.com. Find more of me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and occasionally on MLB Network.